Today, I want to explain a little bit about what Apple Watch can do, some of the differences in the models, and we'll find a way to check our model number, what some of the buttons and settings do on it, and talk a little bit about how your watch and your iPhone work together. I'll talk a little bit about apps and notifications, and if we have time, we'll get to watch faces. Watch faces are a library of different designs you can change on your screen, and we'll take a look at that if we have time today. The Apple Watch is basically a computer on a wrist. Don't think of it as a watch, don't think of it as a fitness device, think of it as a computer on your wrist. It has a visual display that can change to show anything that the computer can choose to display. So if you need a keyboard, it'll pop up a keyboard. If you need a button, it'll show a button. If you want information, it'll show information. It's got a couple of buttons on it. We'll take a look at those. That keyboard is electronic. It's hard to type on because it is small, but it can be typed on. But another alternative is using Siri with your watch as well. There are a lot of apps that come out that are available for your Apple Watch. And when you look at an app on the App Store for your iPhone, it'll say whether the app runs on Apple Watch or not. Apps will indicate that they have an iPhone version, an iPad version, if they run on Apple Watch, or if they run in other functions that Apple supports as well. And there's a lot of sensors on your watch as well. I wrote an article recently that went over all the things that watches and fitness devices can sense, and that'll help you out too. So this is actually a screenshot on the left of my iPhone Apple Watch app, and you'll see that when we go live. But basically, this is the watch app that shows me things I can search for and the different settings that are available and things that I can do with my Apple Watch. So you control a lot of what happens on your watch with the watch app from your iPhone. And so that's one of the things that can be confusing to people at first, is that some things you could do independently in your watch just by the watch settings, but you can also do many of those same things in the watch app on your phone and change how your watch functions with some of the settings and controls. There's also a difference between models. Every year, Apple comes out with a new model of phone. I think the current model is the Apple Watch 10. There'll be an 11, there'll be a 12. They'll continue to upgrade. And they usually introduce a better battery life in the watch because that's one of the biggest requests from people. They sometimes introduce a larger screen for the Apple Watch. They come in different screen sizes. But the biggest difference between any model you choose to buy at any time is whether you get a model with cellular capability or a model without cellular capability. Now, a cellular model with a paid cell service, typically they're about $10 a month US, give you the ability to make phone calls, send messages, and access the internet for, say, maps, or other types of email or calendar functions. And you don't need an iPhone nearby your watch in order to do those things. It can work independently of your iPhone to do phone calls, send messages, and access the internet. So a cellular model, if you want that real independence of just having a watch that's available without having to have your iPhone on you at any time, those are people that typically will get a cellular model when they want that kind of functionality. A non-cellular model requires a communication with the iPhone to make phone calls, to send messages, and to access the internet. It's one of the major choices you make when you buy a phone. Which is it going to do? Do cellular without the iPhone connected, or do you always want to have an iPhone nearby? Now, even if you don't have a phone nearby, there are some things your watch will enable you to do, and when your phone comes nearby, it'll sync up. And so some of the things that your watch can do, I use it a lot for health and fitness. It monitors your heart rate automatically. It alerts you to high or low heart rates. It tracks your daily movement and encourages exercise. You might have seen the activity rings if you have an Apple Watch. It's a exercise a reminder and tool for helping you remember to get a certain amount of exercise. Stand, every hour if you can, and do a few things. So health and fitness is a big use of the Apple Watch, and also can be used for safety and emergency help. Newer models over the past 3 or 4 years have a fall detection feature, and you can set it up so that it will call for help if you fall, if it detects a fall. It also has a crash detection feature, which will automatically call a 911, but the fall detection can be set so that it calls for help and it notifies people that you put into the SOS fall detection health app for being able to contact you. You can also set it to contact emergency SOS with a button press, and holding down one of the buttons will activate that. You can also keep your medical ID on it. Now, if you keep your medical ID information on your phone, it syncs up with your watch. So even if they can't find your phone, or your watch can be a backup device that people can access as first responders. Now, since the Apple Watch 6, they have fall detection. And remember, a cellular model is required for use without your iPhone. But if your iPhone is generally within the same room, it'll work with your iPhone and use your iPhone to call out. It facilitates communication. You can make and receive phone calls on your wrist, so that rather than having to pull your phone out of a pocket or a code or other things like that, it can make it easier to answer and receive calls and see who's calling with caller ID. You can read and reply to text messages quickly. Text messages show up on your screen and you can reply to them. They have some pre-formatted replies like yes, no, okay, sounds good, etc., so that you don't have to type on a keyboard. And you can always stay connected without needing your phone with a cellular model. If that's something that you think is important to you, you can get the upgraded cellular model and get the cell service. Your watch will help you with reminders and alerts. Things like reminds you to stand a little, move a little every hour is part of the activity rings that's built into the watch. But it can also alert you when it's time to take medication. If you have that set up in your health app, or you have an alarm set up, you can use your watch as a timer. You can use your watch as that your calendar reminders will show up as well. And your calendar reminders will be notified right on your wrist, so that if you don't have your phone out of your pocket, or you aren't looking at it, you'll get that reminder right on your wrist. You can just quick and turn your wrist and see what's going on and take advantage of that information. So it's a convenience factor that you don't always have to have your phone in front of you. We kind of get in the habit of doing that a lot, but having a watch, I have found that I have my phone in front of me less, and it's really easier to manage some of these notifications that come through. Navigation works better when you have an Apple Watch, when you're using Apple Maps for notification. You can get turn-by-turn walking or driving directions. It'll give you a pulse on a vibration on your wrist, reminding you when it's time to turn ahead of a turn. And these vibrations guide you, so you don't necessarily need to look at your phone. So it'll help you by using that. So it makes it easier to use as a navigation tool for yourself. And it's really great for walking in new areas where you're not sure where to get around and do things. The walking directions really help you quite a bit. It works with the voice assistant from Apple. You can ask it questions. You can communicate. Your watch has a microphone and a speaker, so it'll respond when you ask it questions by using voice. You can set reminders or timers so you don't have to type things in. Talking to your watch becomes really convenient to use if that's something you'd rather do rather than having to pull your phone out all the time. So that's a convenience factor more than anything else. Apple Pay also works with your watch as well, so that you can pay by credit card with your wrist. Your Apple Wallet is set up in your Apple Watch with the same credit cards that you have with your Apple iPhone. You can track your spending. When you pay by Apple Pay, you'll get a history of your spending within the Apple Wallet app, which is really convenient. So it's kind of convenient to use. I used this the other day to pay just by using my wrist, and just you double press a button and you're able to activate the payment process. One thing it's really useful for is finding lost devices. There's a function that helps you locate your iPhone or iPad, and you can use your watch to ping your phone and make it play a tone. I'll show you that in one of the options that are available too. And the idea being is that some people that misplace their phone, they're not sure where they put it down, you can ping it and it'll play a tone. It gives you a little less stress in terms of understanding where your phone is at any one point in time. One of the things that we're going to go in and do is we're going to check our model number and find out what kind of a device we have. I'm going to set up my screen sharing. What I've actually done in here is I've used Apple's accessibility capability. In the accessibility options on your iPhone, there is a function called Apple Watch mirroring. Because for some people, this watch is really hard to tap and work with. So it is possible to control your watch from your phone by using Apple Watch mirroring in here. But this will mirror everything I'm doing here with my watch. So if I press a button or if I tap anything or use it, it'll show things automatically. Now, this is a button on your watch called the crown, and then there is a button below it. A few people may have an Apple Ultra model, which has a third button on the left called an action button, which can be programmed to do certain things. Okay, but these are the buttons that most everybody has. And if you press in on the crown, it brings up your apps. So that's one of the things I'm going to do. I'm actually going to do it on my watch here and tap in on the crown. And it brings up all of the apps that you have on your watch. And these are icons that if you tap one, you'll bring it up. But you can swipe up on your watch face, you can swipe down and scroll through all of your apps. If you want to get back to your watch face, you just press in on the crown again, and that brings you back to your watch face. So pressing when you're looking at your watch face brings up the app icons. Pressing again brings back the watch face. So that's one of the functions of a button. Another button below it is the second button here. If you press in on that at just lightly, quickly once, you bring up a menu that gives you the ability to access certain features. Your watch has a connection to Wi-Fi through your phone, but you can put your watch in airplane mode. You can see your battery charge. You can ping your phone. So I'm going to tap that and you'll hear my phone ring. So if you ever lost your phone or you're not sure where you placed it, tapping that little ring button will ring your phone and help you locate it. You can turn your watch into a flashlight that makes the screen bright white. You can put it in Do Not Disturb by hitting the moon. And this again lets you scroll up so that the two faces here is theater mode, which makes your screen a little bit dimmer. This water drop is for when you are using it and you get it wet, but it also lets you eject water as well. So watches have the ability to go underwater. I have it on mute right now, so I can unmute it. I can change the text size so that I can make the text bigger if I want to on my watch. And then I have a cellular connection. I have the ability to manage my walkie-talkie function, which gives you the ability to just talk with people that are nearby. I have Apple AirPods, and so I might have a setting here for assistance here. And then I have the ability to look at my accessibility and screen sharing if I want to stop that at any time. To get back to your main screen, you would press in on this side button once. Now, if you press and hold the side button, it brings up a different menu. If you press and hold the side button, it brings up access to the medical ID. It brings up Compass Backtrack, which I'll explain in a minute, and it brings back up emergency calls. So that's what you could do to access emergency call right away. Emergency call will dial SOS. Compass Backtrack gives you the ability, if you're hiking or on a walk and you want to find your way back, it will give you directions back to where your original walk started and give you that information. And medical ID is the same medical information that's on your iPhone in the medical ID information there. So you can always hit cancel to cancel out of this, or press the side button once, press it a second time, and then hit cancel if you need to get out of that. So that's how you get into the different views of your watch. If you press in on the crown and hold it, you'll open up Siri. Hey Siri, can you set up an appointment for me for 3:30 a.m. tomorrow morning?
What's the name of the new event?
Make it late night tech topic.
Late night tech topic is scheduled for 3:30 a.m. to 4:30 a.m. tomorrow. It's on your calendar.
Great. So now Siri is done with that. So setting it up with a few simple things like calendar appointments, reminders, are really helpful for those types of things. So that appointment will be in there. Now, one of the things I discovered that you can do on the settings here is if you go all the way down to the bottom of your apps here, you can change the way the apps appear on your watch by tapping List View. List View puts all of your apps in alphabetical order and gives you the ability to scroll through them. And you can scroll through them by using the crown. The crown not only lets you press in on something, it also lets you move up and down within an app on your screen. I'm actually rotating my crown button right now on my wrist, and by rotating it, I'm able to scroll through this list. Some people prefer a list view in alphabetical order. Some people prefer the grid view. But again, the crown gives you the ability to move through things in addition to your finger swiping up and down. So when you're looking at something like, let's take a look at something like a map here. The map will show up, and the map gives you the ability to zoom in and out if you use the crown button to rotate. So just like different functions on a phone, I mean, I can actually pinch and zoom on this, but the crown button gives me sometimes a little bit easier control when I want to do something with it. So it gives me some extra functionality that I might not have. Now, when I'm in an app and I want to go back to the main screen, I just tap the crown button once. If I want to go back and see my apps, I just tap twice, and it shows me the apps that I was using and lets me scroll through and use different apps. Or if I'm in an app, I can zoom in and out of them. So switching between apps can be done with the crown by you doing this. So I can see reminders, I can see find people, I can see heart rate, I can see appointments, settings. And so it gives me the ability to scroll through apps by using that crown, or I can use it within an app to actually do things like zooming in and out of a function. Now, I'm going to switch over to my phone for a minute because the Apple Watch app in your phone gives you some capabilities that you may or may not be aware of. So let's go to the phone, and I'm going to just type in watch, and it'll bring up the watch app. So one of the things that pops up first are my faces. Okay. You get a certain number of faces that you can save on your watch. And I don't know the limit, but you don't get every face that's available. There is a face gallery button down here. We've got 3 buttons on the bottom. My watch, which is all the settings for your watch, a face gallery, and a discover, which lets you discover different features that you might be interested in. So if I go to face gallery, it gives me a lot of options. Okay. One of the things I can do is change my watch faces. They show new ones up on top that you can use. They show you activity apps that you can use. They have artists, astronomy, breathe, California, chronograph, color, contour, count up, fire and water, radiant, infograph, kaleidoscope, and some of these faces are dynamic. So if I tap this face, it will give me some interesting options. This is kaleidoscope. And so if I want to add it to my watch, I can click add, and it adds it to my watch now. So if I go to my watch, at the bottom here, I can see now that I have the kaleidoscope app face available. If I want to select it, I can use my watch to select it and choose and change my face just by tapping on my watch face, and I can scroll through the watches faces that are available. It's also possible to do a few other things. Let's take a look at general, which will tell us about our model. Okay, so if we look at general and we go to about, we'll see what your watch model is. It's an Apple Watch Series 10 with GPS, and it got a 42 millimeter case. And so I've also got Apple Care Plus. I've got 175 songs, 105 photos, and 22 applications. And I'm only using a little bit of memory. I've got quite a bit of memory available on it. So I've got quite a bit of capability. Now your watch will update automatically with your watch OS operating system through your iPhone typically. There's you can change the left wrist from left wrist to right wrist if you want to. And automatic app install means that when you install apps on your phone that have a watch app counterpart, those watch apps will also install as well. So that'll automatically appear on your home screen. One of the things I discovered in App View is that you can change from grid view to list view in your phone or on your watch. But in the phone, it gives you the ability to move the apps around and reposition them like you can on your iPhone. So I'm going to take my finger, just tap it on the podcast app here. And when I tap it on the podcast app, I can slide it up and move it into a different position so I can arrange the apps I want to get to first in the grid view up on top very quickly if I want to. There is a camera app here. You don't take a picture with your watch, but you can control your iPhone camera with your watch and use it as a remote shutter control for your iPhone camera. So there's a couple of different things that are really convenient there that make it work with different devices and different functions. So App View is one of the cool things to do about it. The other thing that we found really useful is that display and brightness. Some Apple Watches have an always-on display. It's the newer models. You may have an Apple Watch that goes to sleep after a certain amount of time. Now, what you can do is there is an option to control what's called the wake duration right here. and it's set for 15 seconds. So when you wake up your watch and it shows on the screen, the screen lights up. The standard amount of time for the non always on models is 15 seconds. You can upgrade that to 70 seconds if you'd rather have your watch stay on longer. So that's one of the really helpful functions that are available in there in display and brightness. And then accessibility is helpful as well because you can increase the visibility of your watch. Some people have difficulty seeing the screen. Some people want voice. Some people want improved contrast. Some people want larger text. Some people want bold text. So those are tools that you can modify through your accessibility capability if you want to be able to use them there and modify different types of things. You can set your emergency SOS so that how it works is set in your emergency SOS settings on your phone. So you can hold the side button to dial. If you just hold it down, it'll dial emergency SOS. You can have it automatically call after a severe crash. I don't have fall detection set up, but it will, if you do fall, it'll alert you. It's detected a fall, tap your wrist, sound an alarm, and then call emergency services and your emergency contacts. Your emergency contacts are taken from the health app on your phone. So that's how they're entered in there. And so those are just a few of the capabilities that you can use. I use it for activity a lot. And so when I look at different things, I like to keep track of my heart rate, how many steps I've gotten, a few other things. And Discover is a really helpful tool. Discover is kind of a self-learning and self-education. And I wanted you to be aware that you can see what's new in watchOS. Anytime you want to find out, there's an update to the watchOS operating system. You can get a welcome to Apple Watch, and you can get access to the entire Apple Watch user guide, which is a tremendously large amount of information. But the welcome to Apple Watch will give you some handy tips to take advantage of. And it opens up a tips app so you can see your apps, your recent notifications, your control center. You can even control newer models of Apple Watch by using quickly switching between apps and using it touch-free by turning your wrist and tapping two fingers will answer a phone call, snooze alarms, and show widgets. So it's something I'm getting used to learning how to use a little bit as I use a little bit more. And so there's a tremendous amount in the discovery capability that you can find just by opening up the Watch app on your phone, personalizing it, health and fitness, and exploring watch apps in the App Store. Airline, I used it when I was flying, and it would alert me for gate changes and when it's time to board, which was really convenient. So having that little extra notification on your wrist, as opposed to having to pull your phone out of your pocket, has been a little more convenient than I thought it would be originally. But it's something that has made it easy, particularly when you're driving and you don't want to distract yourself by looking at your phone or your car screen, and you want to be able to just turn your wrist or look at something. The wrist notifications when you're walking or getting directions, and being able to do a lot of things just from your wrist makes it a convenience. Now, is it essential? Well, I mean, our technology is not really essential for a lot of things, but it does help if you have the ability to take advantage of using some of these extra features that are in there that will give you a lot more functionality and maybe make your life a little bit simpler than what you might have been doing otherwise. So I just wanted to give you a brief overview and a couple of things I found that are kind of highlights for me in using Apple Watch that make sense for you to consider. Android watches made by Samsung and Pixel watches made by Google will give you a lot of the same capabilities. So it's not as though they're exclusive to Apple Watch, but everything I read from technology recommendations say if you've got an iPhone, the best watch is an Apple Watch because it is integrated very closely with your Apple ecosystem and makes it much easier to use. So thanks everybody for being patient, listening through, and letting me show you that neat little screen sharing feature I figured out. Now, if you have trouble working on your Apple Watch, you can actually use that accessibility screen mirroring function to use your phone to do things on your watch. It'll actually control things there as well. So just a couple of tips. And I'm in the watch app here. And on the watch app, I'm just going to type in passcode. And that's a setting that gives you the ability. You can turn it off. You can change it. You can use it so it'll unlock with your phone as long as you're wearing it. You can use it to detect wrist detection. If you're using passcode, wrist detection locks it when you're not wearing it, so your information stays secure. So you can turn off the passcode. You can also turn off wrist detection, which may be enough for you and possibly, help you out with you're not wearing it. Now, one of the things that I'll show you, if you have multiple watch faces installed here, you can switch them on your watch just by tapping and holding on the screen, and it gives you the ability to swipe through them if you want to.